Welcome back. This is Tim from Retirement is Underrated. I want to welcome you back to the channel. Thank you for joining me again. It a little overcast today. We're getting a little bit of the effects from the Canadian wildfires. So the air quality is not super, but it's a good day to be out. Any day really is a good day to be out on the deck enjoying nature and the beautiful surroundings. I figured I would post this video with a little different background, kind of trying out different things. That's my garage out back, and if you hear a noise around me, that is my little gopher buzzers, which is hopefully keeping the gophers away from the house. So anyway, I want to welcome you back, and then just in the end, if you're looking at me, I'm wearing a red shirt. So if you're a Star Trek fan, believe it or not, the red shirt is not the shirt that you want to be wearing. So hopefully I won't be beamed out or anything crazy like that. Anyway, probably a bad joke. But anyway, I wanted to welcome you back. Thanks for joining me again. You know, in the conversation about retirement or surrounding retirement, I wanted to talk about the dreaded word in retirement planning. A little bit clickbaity, but I thought about it. And what is one of the dreaded words of retirement planning and getting ready for retirement? And I thought about that, and I thought about the word sacrifice. And sacrifice, really, and why sacrifice? Well, because it's the hardest thing for us to do as individuals, I think, or at least one of the hardest things that we do as individuals. Planning for retirement takes sacrifice. It takes holding back from what you have now for your future self. And I could speak from experience. It took me years, guys, to even get to this point of understanding sacrifice. It didn't happen right away. Certainly didn't happen coming out of my 20s. And, when I was younger, I really wasn't focused on retirement. I wasn't focused on much other than enjoying life, getting in debt, and just, living life for the day. But I really found out once I had children more about sacrifice and just, we sacrifice for those of us who are parents. We sacrifice for our children. We sacrifice our time, our sleep. For those of you who are newborn parents, you certainly sacrifice your sleep and your time and your efforts and your resources. It takes a lot to really raise a child these days. And when we came up to New York State back in 2004, my kids were young. My son was not even 7 years old. My daughter was just turning 2. So it's been a long time up here, and really I learned more and more over time just about sacrifice. I didn't understand a lot when it was about the word sacrifice when I was just single. Learned a little bit more about when I was married, or am married, 35 years now. And then when we had children, it's another level of sacrifice. And there's nothing that I wouldn't do for my kids. And really, in the same vein, as much as we do for our kids and we do for our spouses, and really, we want to be the word sacrifice, even for retirement. It takes sacrifice to plan for retirement. It just doesn't happen, guys, by itself. It's an intentional focus on getting ready for the future years ahead. I'm so thankful for years ago, for a coworker at the hospital where I worked. They had a 403 plan, and my coworker recommended that I, at least take advantage of the match and plan, and I'm a young parent and at that time, and raising kids and raising a family takes money. But I took her up on the offer, and I started saving for retirement. And then continually, year after year, I put anything that I had in a raise towards retirement. I kept on increasing that, but that took sacrifice. It's a level. I never had that money to spend on different things. We went years. I mean, my wife was a stay-at-home mom. She was home raising the kids, and we were very thankful for that. She was sacrificial with her time and efforts, and it took a lot. We lived off of one income for years, and so even when I started this journey of saving for retirement, we were one income family living here in upstate New York. And if you don't know much about New York, it's not the cheapest place in the world to live, and it hasn't gotten much better yet. But it took sacrifice, it took time, it took effort, And really, those, as a family raising kids, we had, there were years that my wife and I sacrificed, even our birthdays, Christmas for each other, just really for the kids, but also on a continual basis with the money that having put so much into retirement over the years, it really took away from other things. We had to sacrifice certain things, and it was always with the mindset of for the future self, to provide for the future self, that our future self would be thankful for it. And I can tell you, as future me, looking back to the Tim of a few years back, or even 20 years back, I'd say thank you, because without those sacrifices of things, it really wouldn't have happened. And I have the privilege now of being retired. But as a society, sacrifice, I think, has become such a dirty word, because we live in such the moment of the day. We want things now. We don't want to hold things back. We want to go on those fancy vacations. We want the nice car. We want the 2-week vacation at Disney World. We want fancy clothes. As you can tell, I'm into fancy clothes. I got my suspenders and jeans and a t-shirt, so I'm into my fancy clothes. But seriously, we want to do all these things. I remember at a company I once worked at, a young couple that I knew there, they just got married, but they bought all sorts of stuff for their newly purchased house with their deck furniture and everything else, and they got a lot of debt, and it really became a headache for them. And I'm thankful. And guys, I don't speak as one who has always gotten it all right. I had to learn the hard way. When I was young, I got into all sorts of debt with credit cards, multiple credit cards, and you live up to every raise you ever got, and your lifestyle does this lifestyle creep where you just keep on spending more and more with the raise of your income. And really, I'm glad it had gotten to a point where my coworker had talked to me at the hospital, and really helped me to knuckle down and just really see the fruits of that. And it took away. A lot of years here for us were tight. Did the kids go without? Yeah, maybe in some stuff, but we had them choose. Each one of them had a great activity that they got to choose what they wanted to do. Did we always get away to a fancy location for vacation? No. We tended to go down to Cape Cod, where my mother-in-law had a cottage, and I have some family down there, but we never really did anything super fancy. And there were years, even the stuff that I'm doing to the house now with fixing it up, I put off for years because we didn't have the money. We have one bathroom that is in dire need, but we let it go for years just because we didn't have the funds to put towards it. And knowing that what we were doing and saving for retirement was the right thing to do. And it is doable, guys. Most people today, I did some AI searches, and so many people spend money on, I think the biggest thing they said was the expense was housing, and then food and credit card debt, personal loans. People are up in debt up to their eyeballs and unable to save or do anything. And it's so important when you're saving not to get in debt. If for car, and you think that you need all of this stuff. You think you need the fancy house, you think you need the fancy car, you think you need the fancy clothes. You try to keep, you try to put on appearance for being somebody who you're really not. And in the end, all you have to show for it is a lot of debt. And it does cost you something. It costs something. And Dave Ramsey, talks about this a lot, staying debt free. It is so huge to stay debt free. It's paramount. I think, if you don't stay debt free and then you're in hock up to your eyeballs, saving for the future is going to be really hard. But, if you sacrifice now and sacrifice, maybe not getting those fancy things, maybe you get an off-brand phone, maybe you get a car that's used with, I don't know, 100,000 miles on it. Maybe you do without the vacation one year. Maybe you make Christmas as a craft, as Dave Ramsey would say. but you look for alternatives, and I'm telling you guys, it is possible. There were a lot of things that I was going to talk about this, but you know, honestly, you you could do and I always go back to what my mother was always saying. She's gone now, been gone for a while, but she would always say you could do a lot with a little and a little with a lot, and that's huge. You know, we can make all the money in the world and do very little with it, and you can make a little bit and make it grow to be something. You know, it's what you're doing with it. You know, my son's over in Europe now, you know, doing some ministry training, and I can tell you, he's not making much, but he's on a great adventure. But you know, in talking with him, you know, he said he really doesn't need a lot, and isn't that so true? You really don't need a lot. I'm so thankful for when I first got a job in the Boston area, you know, and trying to break into the computer field. I got a job at a bank, being a bank teller and then a loan documentation servicer. I'm telling you, not making some big money at all. I lived in a cooperative living project for the elderly where they rented out the third floor. You know, Tim didn't have much, but you know, it was a good lesson. And it taught me that you can do a lot with a little. I didn't need much money to survive. I had a place to stay. I had food in my stomach. I had clothes on my back. And I had a lot of nice things that so many people don't even have. And I think sometimes even going through those tougher things, and if you're going through those tough times now, hang on and learn from the lessons that you're learning now in that experience. So, regarding the not popular word, sacrifice, you know, you got to do it, guys. You've got to sacrifice for your future self. You need to cut back. You don't need as much as you think you do, and I would highly recommend that. But please leave your comments below. Let me know what you're doing, how you saved for retirement, the sacrifices that you made that made your retirement possible. And, you know, tell me if I'm way off on all of this. You know, believe me, I'm no financial advisor, but I'm just a poor beggar who's found something good, and in an effort to pass that on. And that's really my heart in a lot of these videos. I want to pass on what I've learned, save you the headache of not repeating what I've learned. You know, why waste the lesson of the mistakes that have been made? And, you know, if you would, please like and click subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. It'll help grow the channel and get it out to more folks who might want to see it. And be sure to click that like button as well. And I look forward to seeing you in future videos where we talk about more things. And please let me know if you you know, want more videos on this subject or on other things you're thinking about. Love to talk to you about them. And again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for subscribing, those of you who subscribe. Thank you for the community of YouTube creators that have encouraged me to create this channel, and the inspiration that you are to me for doing this. And I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate it. So best wishes to you. God bless, and talk to you soon.